Not an easy industry for any of you, but we wanted to highlight our very generous panelists for taking the time to give us their insights. We're going to be covering things like balancing family and career, carving out personal time, all the way to how you establish your personal brand. Asking questions, we're going to save to the end. We want to make sure that you guys are getting everything you need. Please feel free to take notes. I'm going to start, we're going to jump right in with introductions. We have Maya Mendez, if you want to say a few words.
My first one.
She knew I was going to, she knew I was going to get her first. So Maya, if you want to just introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay, so good morning everyone. I'm Maya, and I'm so honored to be here sitting with those amazing women. So thank you again, Michelle. What else?
If you want to tell us like where you started. I know you came from Toronto.
Yeah. Well, originally from Brazil, as you can tell by my accent. I got licensed in 2018. I wasn't really active at the time, but I started in Toronto, and then I moved to Niagara in 2020, and I joined here in 2023. That's it, yeah. And I really love Remax. I feel like I'm not trying to recruit anyone, we just
Feel free to tell
I
your
promise.
friends.
But feel free to tell your friends, and I love the brand recognition and also the support that we have from the office.
Okay, perfect. And we have Belle Chen with the Remax Garden City Explorer team.
Hi, my name is Belle Chen, and it's my honor to be here today. And I have a background of running restaurant business for 8.5 years, and prior to my real estate license. And then I do a lot of commercials. I do quite a few residential too. So if you have any questions, just let me know.
And she's also very generously donated the desserts. You guys will die.
Yes,
And trust me, this is content, guys. They are very branded and very cute. We have Christine Gazzola.
Hello, most of you guys know me. I'm 18 years now with Remax. Started with Remax and started at the top, and as far as branding goes, I came from Bell Canada. I was 17 years with Bell, and when I got forced retired at 35, I had to figure out what I was going to do next. And real estate, I didn't know if it was going to be a good fit, but I love it. I love every day. I love my clients. It's been a wonderful career. It's been very humbling and grateful in every aspect. So it's been really good. And like I said, when I left Bell, I was like, okay, where am I going to go? I can go to Royal LePage, I can go to Coldwell Banker, but I followed the Remax brands because I thought they're world known and they're kind of like the top. And I thought at the time Bell was, kind of at a good branding, so I wanted to kind of stick with it. And I got pretty much my story.
Okay, awesome. So we have Rachel Van Dyke with the Your Niagara home team.
So I started, it's my daughter's 17th birthday today, and I remember being pregnant with her when I got into real estate. So it was like that, and I did hang up my license for about 8 years when my kids were little, and then I retook all the exams and came back in again. So would not recommend to do it that way. But yeah, I got in, I was a law clerk in Hamilton for 8 years first, and then my husband just was doing so much real estate that I got into it, and then started working with Randy Mulder, doing more investment properties with him, and he was like, Rachel, get your license back, come back in. So I did, and I'm very flabbergasted to be here. And I was flabbergasted when Michelle emailed me. I have 3 children, and yeah, it's been a great career.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to jump right in. And again, like I said, definitely feel free to take notes. So we're going to start off with going over balancing career and family, because I know for those of you that have kids at all different stages, I know even for myself, it's a lot. But I also want you guys to think about personal lives, because balance is balance. So how have you guys balanced the demands of a successful real estate career with your personal and family responsibilities? And just feel free to jump in.
So wine helps. Wine helps a lot. I'll start. So for me, my kids were they were a little younger. They were just getting into grades 7 and 8 at the time, but they were a little bit easier to kind of leave on their own when I was kind of running around. But the time management part, I scheduled in my schedule every hockey game, every soccer game, every pickup, every drop off, every school event. That was part of my schedule. Sorry, I can't come. I've got to, I can't come at this time, but I can come at that time. So I did do that. I have a little bit of guilt actually, because my kids are now 32 and 28. I have a little bit of guilt that I kind of ripped them off on some time because I was, phone calls and running out at Thanksgiving. And I talked to somebody about this yesterday about, don't just run off just because somebody calls you. Just say, I'm sorry, I have an appointment at that time. I'll meet you on Monday at 3 o'clock
Now,
instead.
Do you think that was received well by your clients?
I didn't learn it right away.
Okay.
I learned it a couple years down the line when I got a little bit busier, and then I understood that people, just because they have nothing to do on Christmas Day, doesn't mean I can just ditch and leave my family that day. And that's what they do, right? People use, but they'll still come around if they respect your time. So
Okay, does
that's
anyone
kind of
else?
my little.
So I do this similar thing, and that also took me a couple of years to learn. I have, like, my kids, all their sports is synced, their violin lessons all synced to my calendar, and we make it work. So my husband is a high school vice principal, so he has, we can make it work together. They also thankfully for me, they go to the same school as my husband. So if there's issues about I didn't make the bus on time, all those things, he can step in. So that's been a huge, huge thing. I didn't manage, I quit when my kids were little because I was on the phone with a banker and I came out and my daughter had cut all her hair off. So I was like, okay, we're done now, right? My son's first birthday was at the McDonald's Play Center because I didn't have time to plan a birthday party, all those sorts of things. So I got out, and in hindsight, I should have partnered with another agent and just worked, sending referrals or something like that. But then I came back in when my youngest started grade 1, and by that point they were quite independent. And they know that, yes, there's a lot of evenings I'm gone. I've worked every Saturday all winter, but I get to do other class trips. I get to do all the stuff that the 9 to 5 moms can't do. So there's a lot of give and take that way.
Maya, I know you have a little 4-year-old, and he's adorable, by the way, guys. So would you, how do you find that you come up with ways to define balance?
I'm still learning. Now I'm going to, I wouldn't lie. It's hard. I feel a lot of guilt too, but I think this is also part of motherhood. Doesn't matter what kind
It doesn't
of
matter
work you
what
are.
career you're in, yeah.
So I was also pregnant when I started real estate. But yeah, now he likes houses too. And when I look at houses, he's like, that's nice. So who knows,
Future team member, right? And Belle, honestly, given the fact that you've had such a vast career, how did you come up with understanding and dealing with the demands and again balance? I hate that word. 'Cause I don't
You're
feel like
gonna
it's
laugh. I don't balance. I really don't. I remember one time my son's 5th birthday. We were at a Parkway social. I bought the balloons, I bought everything in my car. I got one phone call say, hey, I don't remember I turned off the stove or not when I checking the firewall. I ran to there, Niagara Falls, came back. Everybody my son's invited is there. Only one's
course.
behind. And then you have to know one of the balloons fly away. I was just I swear a lot, everybody knows. It's not me.
Passion.
Yeah, enthusiasm. And then I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I have a show, and those parents just look at me just like they're gonna eat you. I'm supposed to drop the kids and then run. You make me to wait for you. And I'm just like, guys, it's gonna be great. I promise you. But we might run a little bit late. And then that parent just like, what time should I supposed to pick them up? I said, whatever you like. I said, none of my fucking business. You know And then they don't put up with like a balancing. No, balance my own pace. You don't like it, don't like it. People can go. We're gonna know. This world, friends fading. A lot of friends are leaving you apart. You know what? That's the symbol of growth.
Yes.
We grow up. We become better. We become stronger. As a woman, we grow. We stabilize our finances. That's most important. I don't give a shit the other people.
I know if you guys are understanding me, it is sometimes hard to not only ask for help, but admit that we might need help. So what kind of support systems do you have in place? What kind of mindset do you find that you guys are bringing to the table? Unless you guys are amazing at asking for help, because I know I'm not. So, like, how do you guys approach that to avoid that burnout feeling?
There's a lady in our circles who does home cooked meals that I can buy from her. So I don't always have I don't cook very often. So I have my freezer usually full of her meals, and they're like Dutch home cooked meals, which is what, right? So I have my freezer full of stuff like that. If I have a spare minute, I'm at Costco buying all the food and pre-prepping and sticking it all in the freezer. So my kids, I grew up with a mom who didn't cook. My kids have grown up with a mom who didn't cook, and I have no apologies about that. It's like, you're fine, you're good. I don't bake, you're fine, you're good. So I don't do any of that sort of stuff. So that's the biggest for me. And then I used to have a house cleaner, and then my daughter was like, can you pay me instead? I was like, sure, that works out. So she and like my son knows how to do a toilet. He has a toilet every Saturday morning. My other daughter has a toilet every Saturday morning. So they know how to do all that stuff. So it's a family effort. Like, we all do it together.
So it's like the team.
It is. It really is. It's a team effort at home, and I pay them because I do appreciate how much they help. So yeah, it works. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to jump into building and maintaining a personal brand. So as successful agents, how did you find your unique voice in a super competitive market? No matter what stage you started at, was there a moment where you felt like you stepped apart from the crowd? And how did you guys kind of come to that?
So, I came from a team when I first started. I was with Jerry Hendrick's team, and it was great. It was a great learning experience. I was with them probably 2.5 years. So everything was branded towards Jerry at the time. That's kind of what his thing at the time was. And Hendrick's team, Jerry, everything. So there was very little about me. But then when I finally had the guts to,
You can say more. No, you're beside me.
when I had the guts to leave, it was difficult. It was like, if some people remember, back then it was like a real bad marriage, splitting up. But because Jerry and I knew each other since we were in kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it was, we remained really great friends. It was just hard to separate our lives, that way. But I knew that if I was going to go on my own, I had to brand a little bit. I had to have something that was more about me. Something like I had to have my own style, because he had his own style. I was kind of like Bella's. I'm all over the place. I really don't have that much direction, truthfully. I have a list like Sean's a lot used to have, and scratch off my list and check off the marks, So I am not organized in a lot of ways. So being on a team at the beginning was really helped me kind of get some procedures right and a little bit more organized than I normally would have been coming into this industry. But branding was something that it kind of just evolved a little bit at the very beginning, just because I really didn't know how to market myself.
Are you pulling inspiration from what you're seeing out there, or do you feel like you're really staying true to yourself?
I've stayed true to what I started, as far as my brand and my catchphrase, if you want to call it. I've kind of stayed true to all that stuff. I really haven't. I'm a myself. I'm not putting on airs. I don't. I have a $5 million listing, but it doesn't mean that I treat that person any differently than my $370,000 listing. I do the same package for video and pictures, and I do the same sign, and you know, I don't really change. And if certain clients, usually you kind of know within the first couple of conversations or the first couple of meetings, you know, what people are like, if they're very anal. I'm not that person. I'm not your girl, right? If you like this and you like I'm the same way if I'm sitting with my friends having a glass of wine as I am with my clients, and they appreciate that. I don't have to be somebody different.
Okay, awesome. Now I
So-
know with Rachel and Belle, you guys are both the only females on like full like male teams. Not to say that that's like an overshadow necessarily, but how did you guys carve out your space in terms of like? Do you feel like that becomes a factor? Because I know with branding, colors, things like that, you want to put your spin on things. Do you find that that was something that you kind of had to carve out, or do you really feel like it maybe kind of helped you elevate it? Like just in terms of even just like the brand.
Tony's not here, okay? Nothing more,
We are being recorded,
Shit,
Facebook.
I cover my mouth, right? No, I think just be who you are and then do the best. I think even though the market's really crappy, doesn't matter. You can stand out your own way, and then number talks, money talks, sales talks. That's all that matters. No matter you have to. I never want to be stand out anywhere at any team. For example, Remax. No, I just want to be myself, do the best I can, and that's it. I don't really care for numbers. I don't really. But you know what? I find out this is the best. You don't pay attention to unnecessary stuff to bothering you. How can I prove myself I'm a woman? Fuck,
Yeah.
I'm a woman, I'm good.
Yeah.
They don't like it, they don't like it. But no matter what, I always tell a lot of people, no matter you're at the team. The reason I'm being in the team, because I promised Tony I would be in your team for a while. That is 7 years. Okay, I keep my promise, but doesn't mean anything. But as a woman, no matter it's in a marriage or career, you have to build yourself good. There's a moment you can smash that kind of dozen of money. You say, you know what, I had enough, bye. I can turn around, I don't care. You treat me good, I stay. You don't treat me good, I go. Fair game. Okay, so that's it. I don't have to prove myself I'm better in the team. The number talks.
Okay, perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, Rachel, what would you say
Yeah.
your experience has been?
So, I would just say that when you're in a team, I've learned this too. It's just best to have collaboration at the end of the day, just to maintain a good team spirit. So we do that a lot, and I think I stand out just in the sense of just my background with my history. So my history with investment properties, my history with going above and beyond with first-time home buyers, that type of stuff, people will be like, okay, we'll gravitate to Rachel that way, right? And then just making sure that everything you do is like 120%, because you have to do that. Like you have to stand out that way, that you've given it your all and you've given it 120%. And yeah, at first when I joined the team, like there was a lot of discussion with me and Randy, and he'll laugh about this because like I just hated their branding. Like I hated it so badly. And he was just like, oh, but Rachel, I love orange. I was just like, oh, Randy, it's so awful, right? So on my birthday, so a few years ago, or last year maybe, we finally got the branding sorted out and new branding, and I love it. And so now I will actually post team branding, because I actually wouldn't. Like I wouldn't post team branding. So now that's all sorted out. That's all great. We're all thrilled with it all. So, and that way, you just keep your clients happy, and they will refer you, and then their kids come. Like I'm dealing with my clients' kids.
Yeah.
So you just, make sure you do that it just keeps coming back.
Now, Maya, I know that you've got sort of like a little bit of like a unique sort of approach to your client base, because a giant part of your client base is Brazilians. So I know that comes with a whole different cultural set of demands and expectation of how you're supposed to treat them. I've seen it firsthand. How do you find that you've been able to sort of stand out, especially when you're working within a community where it does seem like there are other Brazilian agents? So you're also having to make sure that they're choosing you. So how did you find that setting up your personal brand really helped you stand out within your specific community?
I mean, I usually say I don't discriminate in clients. I just sold a house to a couple that are not from Brazil, and I also had a buyer that bought actually Christine's property, and they were from Canada. So I don't discriminate to anyone. I feel like we always have to have a niche, and I would say my Brazilian clients are my niche. But yeah, and it's similar to what we're saying. I always do my best. I try not to look competition. When I started, I used to compare myself a lot. There was one particular realtor that I always compare myself, and when I was feeling sad, I'll go to her Instagram and just sold. And then I was there, okay, show me 10,000 properties and nothing sold. So and as soon as I stopped looking her Instagram, sometimes I still go out today, but I think now I have more than her, but not that I'm bad.
It is what it is, right?
No, it's just like you have to just keep looking, like just keep going forward. It's like when you're swimming, you like what I say, Michael Phelps, she doesn't look to the side, she just keep going. You know, if she's selling more, great for her. You know, and yeah, just what I want to do and my brand. Yeah, I just, like before I was like fitting in what other realtors doing, let me do the same. But that wasn't me. Even the photo, that's not me. Like now.
You're talking about my picture?
So when I started, I was so young and I didn't know, and then the photographer said, okay, just post like this. And then I felt so stupid since that day. And now I told Michelle, please, I don't want to see that photo ever again. Because
We
that
burn
wasn't
them,
me.
guys.
Yeah, so that wasn't me. So, but I had to have the courage and say, no, it's not because realtors take a post like that I have to, but it takes some time until you kind of find your voice, I guess.
Now, I think you touched on like a really important topic, and I do find that it's something that does come up quite a bit, especially with like women realtors. Do you ever feel the push-pull of the norms of social media and the expectation of how you have to portray yourself, your branding, because let's be honest, the public on one side thinks it's all just selling sunset. How do you sort of navigate that space? Because at the end of the day, do you feel that that is a major part of your personal brand? Or do you feel like it really comes down to the work?
So I hate the thought of being a content creator, like 1,000% hate it. So I used to do more, and I do less and less and less on social media. And because one thing, like you can do just solds, just that, and that's great because I know people come and look at your profile and be like, okay, she does know what she's talking about. She does know how to do business, right? So you have to still post all that. But you also have to provide value to people. So there's that also to do. And for me, it's tricky. Like I posted a picture of my daughter's birthday candles this morning, but like I drew a line at posting my children's face and stuff. That was just my personal thing. My husband's a very private person, so he doesn't want a lot of his, there's a lot I can't post about our personal life or anything like that. And at the same time, I know that people, if you do put yourself out there, they feel a connection already, right? Mm-hmm. So you still have to have a sort of who you are out there, but I used to do the same as you. I used to compare myself to other realtors. It robs all joy, right? Mm-hmm. So I used to compare, and you think you're not successful because that realtor looks like they're doing better, and some I did unfollow, and it just does rob all joy. So it's just really about being authentic, just being yourself, just putting out there what you're comfortable with putting out there, and that is, and yeah, I stopped looking also, like I just don't do that anymore, and it just peaceful.
I feel like that definitely is a thing that I'm starting to see, especially when it comes to things like video.
Yeah.
It's like that self-criticism that, let's be honest, as women, I think it started at 7.
Yeah.
So it's that getting past it. But I like the idea that it's coming down to, like you said, the value.
Yeah.
So now that we're kind of getting naturally into the whole idea of pressure, now many realtors in general, like whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, you often feel the pressure to prove yourselves, especially in the beginning from, what I've heard and I've sort of seen. How did you navigate that through that beginning portion of your career? Did it only last the beginning, or do you feel every step of the way you're still having to kind of consider these things, or what your definition is of prove yourself. Or if you don't feel that at all, how does that sort of come to be?
I don't find that I compare myself, like at the beginning I did maybe, like how come, oh, she's doing so much, and I always tried to be more like this one or that one, but once you kind of find your groove a little bit, I think that for me, I think we really learned really early on in this particular office. We had a really good friends group, and we supported each other, and I think that us girls, us guys, I think guys have a harder time in the industry than we do. We're caregivers, and we're people that want to take care of, and we want to make sure that that one's happy, and we don't want to drop the ball, and we probably go above and beyond more than we should maybe sometimes, but I think that shows that, and we're good to each other, I think, for the most part. We want to rally each other. We want to praise when, Belle sells another commercial property, and, when Maya's got her, she's killing it, and everybody, everybody. I think that we just, we naturally want to champion each other, and I don't know about these girls, I can only speak for myself, like, when I see that Tammy or hi Marg, has got something great going on, like I wanna promote them, I wanna give them a thumbs up. It's great that you did that, and the guys, of everybody, right? We just wanna, I don't think we really naturally compete against each other. I think that we're more giving and more championing of what they're producing, and just happy for you. Keep going, you're killing it. And if somebody calls, you try to give them the time to help out and give them maybe a couple pointers, maybe something that they didn't see,
So would you guys say, like, from an advice perspective to other agents who may be feeling intimidated by someone else's success, just because sometimes it's not that you're not happy for them, it's just that little bit of self-doubt. How instrumental, because I know you've touched on, kind of having your girls, like how instrumental would you say it is to have your people within the industry? Like having, because I know, like I see you guys, like I'm not a realtor, and I see how you guys have your support systems. And you guys go to each other for advice when it comes to, you have a listing, things like that. So like, would your advice to a new agent, how would you tell them in terms of like establishing those relationships? Should that be a focus for them? Because do you feel in the industry you need to have that collaboration?
Yeah. Like I know, like Alicia and you guys, Eva, and like a lot of that, you guys kind of band together a little bit, which is good. You need to have that. Like I call agent over COVID. Oh my gosh, I was calling like Terry Cox. I was calling, all kinds of people like Stu McEacher, and I was calling like agents like, okay, talk me off this shelf for a couple minutes because I was feeling a little cuckoo, right? But it's just supporting each other. It doesn't have to be necessarily within Remax. It can be with everybody's got their thing, right? And it's just nice to kind of support each other and that sort of stuff, right?
See, I just came in touching on a mill, and you hit it right in the head. What makes you women more successful, and women more successful? And I had to learn, trying still learn, you guys have much more emotional intelligence, show much more empathy than us guys, right? Again, so I think that goes a long way, like you're championing each other and stuff like that. Guys don't usually do that. So I think you hit on that with males. I totally agree with that. Like women, again, like you said, you're the 3 Bs, the beauty, brain, brawn, right? And you guys, like,
we're used to taking care of people, and
that's
I
right.
think that
much
that's
more
kind
of that emotional intelligence. Because again, myself, as a male, most of us male maybe attest to this. Like we don't have that. You guys might have more of that motherly instinct and more readily available to people to calm and soothe. We don't have that, right? So no, that's just, sorry I've interrupted that.
No.
But just touching on that with males and difference, women much more emotional intelligence and more empathy than us guys, and you're right on that from a male standpoint, right? So.
And like I don't look at everybody's numbers at the end of the year. I'm like, I don't know how many. Actually, I couldn't even tell you how many deals I do in a year. I never look.
And we're all at the same Christmas.
No idea.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's 46 or if it's 76. I'm just grateful for the business that I get, and it kind of comes a little bit more naturally now because I get the kids and the cousins and all that because I've been in it for a while.
I was
but-
gonna say that to the new agents. You're not gonna get a lot of deals your first however many years. Like
No.
I still, but it's about laying the groundwork, right?
Mhm.
So you lay the groundwork, you lay the groundwork, you lay the groundwork. You do the open houses, you do the showings, you do the opinion of values for people, and that's not unique to real estate, and that will help make you feel better too. Like any new small business owner is going to have that experience, right? They say for a new small business, it's 5 years before they turn a profit. So that's not unique to real estate. That will help you make you feel better and just lay the groundwork.
Yeah, 3 years, I guess, at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a good market.
Yeah.
In a good market,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, having said that, once you hit that moment where you're really performing year after year, how do you handle, because obviously in a perfect industry, we'd control the market. How do you handle it when maybe that next year isn't quite like the last one? It may not necessarily be to any fault of anything you're doing, but how are you sort of riding the wave of a market that you have no control of and not letting it hit that confidence in your abilities and skills and your client base?
Okay, so to speak again, I learned this early on in real estate too, that was like, have a separate savings account for a large portion of your paychecks, right? So I have that I don't touch, I don't really look at it because I don't want my mind to think I have that money available. So I keep that all aside, and that helps you ride a down market. And then in the down markets, you get things done that you wouldn't have time to do when you're running around like crazy. So take that as an opportunity to get that extra stuff done, like update your buyer's guide, update your like listing presentation, all those things that you wouldn't normally have time to do, get that done. Enjoy it a little bit. I remember my very first Christmas party, Wayne saying, "Okay, you guys have 3 weeks, just enjoy it," right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the slowest time in real estate, enjoy it. And I'm like, I took that to heart. Like, okay, I'm going to enjoy Christmas. I'm going to enjoy these
Yeah.
small times. So you sort of do that, and nothing is worse than a buyer or seller who can smell a hungry agent, right?
Yeah.
So do not be hungry. Do just be like, if this deal goes through or doesn't go through, fine by me, right? We're doing what's best for our client. So just
Don't count your commission before it's in the bank.
And even
Don't have
that.
it spent before.
Don't even that.
Yeah,
There's
even
tax
then,
after.
there's tax.
There's times.
Jim
We're all
Fannin used to
working.
say, what was it, first you pay yourself, then you pay Revenue Canada, and then you pay Wayne.
But yeah.
Was that how it went? Is that the three?
I'm sure it's Alaska Revenue Canada. Now Maya, being as like, I know you've been in the industry for like under 6 years, like what's your perspective on that element? Like being as you're still in that, like, you know, just getting over that 5-year hump.
Okay, so when I started officially when I came full time, it was 2021. I've been licensed since 2018. I had many issues of like self-confidence and all that. I didn't feel I was worth, I used to rent at the time, and that was a big thing on my mind. I was like, how can I sell something that I don't even have in my own house? I know it's a very bad limiting belief. I know it's not true, but I had that. And I feel like as soon as I bought my first home, everything changed. It was like a switch. Anyways, but therapy, all those things work. Thanks to my therapist. Like having realtor friends too, because you can, I feel like realtors with very different mindset. Like if you tell your friend who is an accountant, you might not understand the struggles you go through.
Yeah.
Right? So your realtor friends, they will understand a little bit better. And I think
Well, that's perfect because we're going to move on to the next
Yeah.
category. Okay, so when it comes to strategies for success in a competitive market, obviously we'd all like to believe that every time you guys go to a listing appointment, it's just like absolutely, which I'm assuming is not always the case. How do you guys handle rejection when you don't get that listing? Or when the market's honestly not in your favor and the property is like sitting. And like how is it hitting your confidence? Is it making you question anything? And again, like I said, like you're not necessarily going to get every single listing. How do you handle that?
I pretty much get every commercial listing I can get.
I don't know what
Number
it's
talks. Number talks. I'm the number person. I really enjoy. Like I'm the opposite. Well, I love you too. That's the opposite. I check every year. What's the number am I? And then thanks for Wings and Debbie always mail me your number 75 on March. Your number by June last year I'm number 50. The whole Niagara region one, right? So I just said now I'm gonna. Debbie, you remember? I said, can I see who's behind ahead of me? I don't look at who's behind me. I look at ahead of me. And then I was like, you know what? That's my motivation. I don't get jealous. You know what? They're success in their own way. They are doing everything we do on top. They're doing a lot more than we do. So how we're gonna motivate ourselves and then get them moving? When I go to the listing, I also have another interview for this realtor, that realtor. You know what? I say, that's fine. Let me tell you what I do. You don't like it? That's fine. But I don't know why. Everybody's dropped into the trap. I don't know why. But sales talks, what you sold before. Be prepared for your listing presentation. Be prepared. People ask you what you sold before. And then it's so funny. The other day, people asked me, have you sold a bubble tea shop ever? I was like, let me tell you. On 221 Glenridge, the Mr. T, I sold it 4 times. Sold and bought 8 transactions. Okay? And then she said, I'm on Scott Street. I was like, that plaza, there's the owner who owns an Indian restaurant. I helped him buy the Welland Plaza, one of the unit. That was called Mr. T. I sold that twice. And then on the same plaza, China Garden. It's my clients sold and bought. I helped them buy the purchase property. So you have to be okay to link what you sell and then what's on the thing, and then I think it gets you whatever the listing presentation.
Now, I think you touch on an important element is like your record of success speaks. So when you guys were first getting started and you didn't quite have that record yet, how did that impact when you would step into a listing? What are you leaning on in that moment?
So I can probably, so at the time when I first started, I was, new, obviously green, and I would say, oh, well, my team will bring, we'll do this with my team. Now my team is me, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to a listing to finish up a listing when I finish this. And so I'm like, okay, well, I went in there to meet the family, and I'm like, we're going to do the paperwork. And I said, then my stager's going to come around, and she's going to get everything organized, and I'll get her set up. And then 2 days from now, we're going to have the pictures done. And so that's my team. Like, when I talk to some of the new agents, I'm like, well, if you go on a listing presentation, you're a little bit nervous. I said, say that you partner with me. We're not team partners, but I'm your mentor, or I'm here to help, and just say no, not because we are a little small community, and I'm okay with that, or just say I'm going to get another agent in here just to back up the numbers or whatever it is, right? So I'm happy to do that too as well. Our team is us, this industry, right? That's our team.
Now I know Maya, a big part of why you came over to RE/MAX Garden City was the RE/MAX brand. Mm-hmm. So do you feel, and if so, how do you feel that carries weight when you're going in, especially when, again, you're a new agent or maybe you have gaps between some of your successes?
Well, people congratulate me on my promotion, which is funny. Oh, congratulations on your promotion to the I don't correct them, I let them think that I got promoted, which I think I got promoted, and I feel like when you started, you don't have trade record, and that used to be, again, a mindset for me. Like, how can I go compete with Christine? But I'm not competing with Christine. Someone who is hiring her might not be a good fit for me.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Mine is not a good fit for everyone. I'm gonna put a lot of gold stuff in your house when they stay.
Yeah.
If you don't like gold, then it might not be a great fit. Yeah, jokes aside, so it's not everyone for everyone. You know, and I feel like you have to work on yourself and find out the person you want to work with. I've fired people many times. Like, I would love to work with you, but I don't think we're a good fit. They are interviewing me, I'm interviewing them too.
Yes.
If they are headache, if they don't align with my values, I'm sorry, there's many ways that you can choose.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to Rachel's comment that she made about the don't be too hungry.
Mhm, yeah.
And I still do lots of rentals. I know many agents don't like to do rentals. I don't discriminate anyone. You know, if I can help you, I can find you a place, I will do it. I did lots of rentals when I started, I still do, and they become buyers and they become listings and they have friends and family. I didn't grow up here, so I didn't go to school here, just to university. But my friends are all back home. For sure they'll buy with me, but I don't have people here. So I had to kind of build my community, right? So I rent them a house, and then I had just one rental that turned into 4 buyers and 1 listing.
Wow.
From one rental. So you never know where it's coming. And now that I do that thinking, oh, I'm going to rent them a house, I'm going to get, no, it's just genuine. You know, I like them, and then I'm going to like their friends, and that's how it goes.
Now, I do have one more question in that category, but I'm going to come back to it. Now, if we move into like navigating leadership and mentorship, because obviously once you get to a certain tier, whether you see it or not, because obviously the theme seems to be that you guys are all very humble, which I do find with most of our agents. But do you feel that as a successful agent, the role of leadership or mentorship in the industry played a key role in you being where you are today? Like whether it be when you first came out of the brokerage and our mentorship program, or whether it be on the teams. Like did anything stand out where you would say it's really important to get a mentor, or it's really important to find somebody that you see as the leader? Like is that something that you would say is instrumental?
I don't think it has to be anybody in particular. Like if you're assigned when you first start and you get a mentor, you get the right mentor, then they can change your life. But also, you know, our colleagues, you know, early on in my life, you know, there was a lot of the Tony Tripodis, Marg, you know, there was a lot of Phyllis, Claudia, you know, there was a lot of amazing people, women and men, and Wayne was always very, very supportive. I think that that's something that we can gravitate, and they're not doing it because they're getting something out of it, and don't mentor or I don't give advice because I'm getting something out of it. We just do it because we naturally want to help, right? That's in our, you know, there's a lot of things that still stick in my head that a few people that have said over the years that have stuck with me, and it's important to remember, you know, that you know, be grateful for the advice and be grateful for the help. You know, if you can find a mentor or somebody that you can kind of gravitate to, you know, that's fabulous. And it also, as now I guess I'm considered experienced and have a couple of years under me, but also when new agents ask me stuff, it kind of brings me back, and I'm like, yeah, like I didn't think about that for a long time, or you know, go back to doing, you know, when things get tough, go back and do your open houses, go back and make some phone calls, you know, all those things that you should be doing when things get slow, right? It's things that kind of bring us back when we have new people that we're talking to.
So being as, like I know you said you started on a team, and you know, I know with Belle and Rachel you guys are on teams. Whether it's a team lead or whether it's an actual mentor, what would you say are the qualities that any agent at any stage that's looking for that type of tier of connection or advice within the industry, what should they be looking for to determine what makes a good mentor?
So I didn't have one, and that was like I started a different brokerage. There was some ladies at the office, so I went to the office every day, chatted with ladies at the office, and they were amazing just to chat with me. I could run things by them, stuff like that, but not that I was per se calling them at night, being like, how do I get this deal together at 8 o'clock at night, right? So I didn't have any of that. But like right now, I would say the collaboration at our team is amazing. So I'm super thankful for that. We encourage each other through the lows, cheer each other through the highs, and so I'm super, super grateful for that. So, but what was the question?
Like, what would you say are the qualities that, whether it's a team that you're considering joining, whether you're looking for just
I
like,
think
natural
you have to have a team where there's not competition, because that does make it tricky, right? Like you have to have a team where it's collaboration, not competition, and B, where there is somebody that has enough time to actually answer the phone and talk to you through things. So Randy is not, he's very busy, so he's not always available, but I have Bill too, right? So there's at least two people that between the two of them, I usually get a phone call in. And I've called Wayne in the Dominican, like he's on the phone, he's like, oh, I'm in the Dominican right now. Wayne always answers. So you don't be afraid to make the phone call, right? Like I think the first time I called Wayne, I was petrified. I was like, oh no, I'm fucking Wayne, right? I've only ever dealt with Randy and Bill. And then, but he's not like that at all. So you just don't be afraid. And then now I because I'm not at the office, I'm at the Jordan office and rarely at that. I don't really have people coming to me actually to ask for help. If they did, I'd certainly help them, but I'm a little more isolated.
For me, for the mentors, I really honor Wayne. Like,
Yeah.
everybody knows Wayne doesn't handle accents well. So for him, it's really hard. What'd you say again, Bill? I remember. But he's so knowledgeable, like super. I don't want to say that's what you say. It's not specific person. Tony's not here. Tony really different. He's not the mentor of me. But I really, really think Wayne, every time I go to Wayne. And then he always like, hey Bill, come on in. Come on in.
No, it's always a come on in.
Yeah. And then I hate it when he have all kinds of chocolate in front of me. and I always say, wait, can I have a question? Okay. Okay. And then he's going to look at it. And then he starts writing stuff. And then I always sneak into the front desk to Laura. But it's not honestly specific person, but really is who can help you at what perspective.
At that time,
Yeah.
for that particular problem.
Yeah.
Now, Maya, I know for you, like coming from Toronto and like having to build a completely new network from scratch in Niagara, did mentorship play a role?
Yes. And also I didn't tell anyone I was coming from Toronto. That was a big thing because I felt like agents here, now I understand why we don't like Toronto agents. But
We don't.
So I still have my 647 number. I still get bullied by Niagara realtors. Like, oh, you don't know me. Okay. I'm Maya with Remax Garden TV. I'm from here. I mean, I'm here. Doesn't matter where I'm from, right? So this is my home. Anyway. So it was hard in the beginning for the bullying part. Yeah, I remember my first doing one of my first ones. I was trying to put the price down, and the agent, a big agent, he used to be from the office. I'm gonna mention names. He's like, "Oh, you're trying to put the price down because you don't know what the market is."
Oh.
I know who that is.
Now you know.
I'm from here, and this is the best offer. You can take it, or you can just let it
Maya
die.
said.
Yeah. Anyways, he took it, and of course I told anyways, but so understand who you are and understand your values, and that's it. It's not as simple as some, but it's everyday commitment. And I feel like for the mentor, yes, I had a Peter Penner. He also was here for a while, and then he's gone, but he helped me so much. He was my mentor at the time, and I remember I told him, okay, tell me all the good neighborhoods and the bad ones, because I don't have the time to learn. So, and he was so nice, told me everything. Oh, and he'll tell me, okay, from this street to that street, no. And I had the first listing I had in Toronto, I got a nervous breakdown at the train station because I don't drive. This is another thing. And then I called him. I said, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I cannot sell my client's house. Why are they hiring me? This is it's not gonna work. And he's like, Maya, take a deep breath, and you got it. And I sold the house on that day. So, but just have the mentors. I feel like you have to, if you can, have someone that's different from you. Me, I'm a bit scared in the beginning, but once I'm there. but to start, I feel like, oh.
So would you say like almost finding the qualities that you
That you
maybe
don't have.
want to have? Okay, now I know obviously the theme of you guys is very humble, and before you guys get like inundated with emails asking you guys to be mentors, how do you approach mentoring? Whether it's that you have been full mentors for somebody else, or whether you've just been an ear or a reply by email, how do you feel you approach it? In terms of, because obviously people come to you with questions, all different stages. If somebody's completely wrong, and like, you know, do you correct? Like, are you a little sensitive to that? Does it make you remember what it was like when you were newer, or are you very hard on the idea of like the industry is a certain like tier?
I think you're gonna find out everybody's different. Their thought, the way of laying stuff. I have a lot of questions about commercial property, commercial business building, and all kinds of stuff to my end. A lot of people always write a huge article saying, as we all know, you're well known and blah, 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 blah. I was like, what's your point? Okay. And then my best part is they have the thought, they have the idea of that two things are the same, residential and commercial the same. They would do the same way as a residential club. They are totally different.
Yeah.
Each item are different. You have to make it personalized. That's why you make it your solid base. If you don't know how to do commercial, do not step onto it because it's a different
It's
ball.
tricky, yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
It's not something you can learn. Christine's more professional with the residential, but commercial wise, it's not something you have to do one by one deal and then learn over around 30 to 50 deals in order to know the hits of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not like a residential, it's different. So people ask me, feels like I don't want to taught them nothing. No, I fix the clock for them. I do this and then watch out for this and do this. But I just feel like they tell me, oh, that's too much. Could you just take it as a referral?
Yeah.
Please. I have so many people tell me just take it as a referral.
Yeah.
Thank you for Christine referring me.
It's a totally
Totally.
different animal, yeah, for sure.
So would you say like for any agents that might be interested in exploring, which it doesn't sound like you explore commercial, so, would you say absolutely get a mentor? Like work under somebody who's doing commercial, like even if you're helping in some regard, because that's sort of what I'm getting from it a bit.
The person who can talk about commercial the most is Tommy. He passed away.
Yeah.
And then right now it's a lot of realtor on the market right now try to do commercial, but they don't know much about commercial.
Yeah.
That's the problem of it. So we really need someone to know what they're doing and then help together to build a commercial perspective in our Remax Garden City.
Yeah,
I don't mind to help, I don't mind to share, but we need someone to have a common sense about what's commercial.
Because you know I'm going to come talk to you afterwards.
No. I charge you $5 per minute.
Billing it to the brokerage. Okay, so I said that I skipped over a question. I'm going to come back to that as we start to tie it up. What do you think is the key to long-term success in this industry? And I know you guys are at all different stages. So even at 6 years, what do you see is the key to long-term success? And it can be just overall. And if everyone can answer, we can start with Rachel.
Okay, so I feel spoiled and abnormally blessed because I come from a community already. I came from a niche already. So when I started real estate, that was when we did like in-class learning, and then our group was sort of a group together. I was the only one who survived the first year.
Mhm.
And that was because I had people from my community that just came to me out of friendship and loyalty. And entrusted me with a lot, right? So I feel very thankful to the Lord, and I feel very thankful to my community for that, because it didn't have much to do with me. And then on top of that is just sticking it out. Like you're going to have such drought years and you're going to have great years, but just sticking it out, I would say is the key to, like, if you mean in the sense of like, you know, that most realtors drop off the first 5 years, like in the sense of just staying with
Sticking
it.
with it.
Yeah, sticking with it.
Okay, what about you, Christine?
I think having a posse, having your having your people that
Yeah.
you can have a little bit of a bitch session with and have like, I can't believe this happened, and just saying it out loud sometimes is good. You know, you have to have a community, you have to have somebody to go to. You know, Wayne's talked me off the ledge a few times. He's kept me out of jail all these years. So that's been good. You know, Phyllis has been a huge resource. You know, just to have somebody to kind of talk, like having other people that know the industry, that's all helpful. If there's going to be some tough years, there's going to be tough deals.
Yeah.
Every deal right now for the last 2 years has been like hard, right? And it's not easy. I think that keep your integrity, keep your promise, keep your word, keep yourself. Don't try to be somebody different. And I think that that's the only thing that's going to help you grow.
Can I just touch base on
Yeah.
that? That's, so two things. One is have a tool belt of people that you can use, right? So you have to have contractors, you have to have stagers, you have to have handymen who are not full-time contractors but can come on a Saturday and help your client do things. So you have to have plumbers, electricians, like all those people that you can refer to. You have to have a knowledge of how much it costs per square foot, how much it costs to renovate this. Like you have to have knowledge. You have to know, like right now I'm working with a lady in Fort Erie because she's called me, she's like, Rachel, I might sell, I might not sell. I don't know what renovations to do, right? So you go there and you're like, this is gonna be your best return on investment. This is, what's your budget? How are we gonna get the best dollar for your house on your budget? Like you have to know all of that stuff. And secondly is I take real estate courses. So like I take the Brian Madigan courses. I'm signed up now for another course that I'm going to be starting, so that you have knowledge of real estate law and like keeping your clients out of trouble, making sure deals don't go bad, and clients appreciate that. Like they appreciate if you know their niche and if you know their market and if you know the law.
Yeah.
And all of that sort of stuff. So I would definitely encourage you guys to take Brian Madigan's courses, because I've been striking clauses out of realtors who are bringing me offers that do not know the law and do not know what they're talking about, and I send it back to them with the clause struck, and they're like, well, why did you strike that? And you explain it, but then from that point on you have the upper hand in negotiations, because they don't even know that sort of stuff, right? So take all of that stuff. I would highly encourage that.
Yeah, I have a mortgage broker that I use.
That too, yeah.
That I use kind of exclusively. Not to, you know, that has been huge benefit. And I've got a couple of lawyers that I able to call last minute. I can message them on a weekend and say, hey, listen, this has come up and I don't know how to handle it. Even this year, I've had, even in the last 6 months, I've had a couple of deals that have been really unusual, and having a good lawyer that's willing to take the time to explain why, and then that way I know going forward that, okay, geez, that could have gotten really ugly.
Yeah, it's like a note to self.
Yeah. And you're right, taking a little bit more time when you're downtime.
Yeah.
Taking a little bit more time to do, anytime you're doing real estate stuff, whether you're talking to somebody at the grocery store about, you know, what the market's doing, or the guy at the gas station stops me and keeps me for half an hour. You know, it's, anytime you're doing any kind of real estate, it's productive.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, Belle, like what would you say, like, is your perspective on the key to success?
Key to success, invest yourself.
Yeah.
I honestly sleep 3 to 4 hours a day, only. I have a lot on my plate. But whenever I have a free time, I listen to what's the economy doing, what's global economy, what's the news. I don't watch drama show. I ever don't watch. What I do is really just want to invest myself. You know what Chinese have a saying? Only invest on yourself, because don't put betting on anybody else. Only thing doesn't change is yourself. That's it. And then invest financially yourself too. You have to know, don't put all the eggs on the same bucket. You have to invest. I came here when I was 17 as an international student. From all my dream, it's honestly just won a second-hand car. I was standing on the bus stop, freezing. I came here on December. I came from the city, it's only 30 degrees today. So I never seen snow in my life. All I want when I came to December, it was a second-hand car. It just roof doesn't leak and stuff. But you know what, I hate to say this, until today, I built my success very well. So then you don't go smell hungry, go to any clients because you doing deal or not deal, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How? We put money, we save money, we invest property. Invest not only here, financially, and a different portfolio.
Yeah.
Make ourselves stand up.
Okay, what about you, Maya?
Well, I don't think there's much left to talk. I agree 100% with all that they said. Invest in myself in terms of the mindset, so I can deal with this. Doesn't matter how hard it is, I'm gonna try to find help. Yeah, I agree, Brio course is very good. Negotiation and learn about the housing structure, In Brazil, houses are built different. So, but now, I read all the home inspection reports that my clients go and you always learn. I feel like, I don't know, I'm always learning something and
Okay, I love that. It's so, I just honestly, you guys know I'm so grateful that you guys answered my email. The fact that you guys came together and honestly, as the agents at our brokerage, thank you so much for coming and seeing this as not just a Women's Day event, but also something that is productive toward the industry as a whole. And like they said, investing in yourself. So I hope that you take what you've heard today, I hope you put it into action. I hope you ask more questions and really take the time to invest in yourself and use what you've heard today to help you do it. But I would like to open the floor to Wayne to say a few words.
You know, Belle said I'm not really good with accents. I never thought about that. But she's probably right.
Do you know every time I go to your office, I shake? And I shake it in front of it and then before I go in.
I've got a barber who's Italian, and he's been in Canada for a little over 50 years. And I sit in the chair and I smile, and I don't understand a single word he says. Not one. It's dangerous because he might be saying, well, my dog died yesterday, and I might be smiling and saying, well, that's nice, I have no idea. But speaking of a long time ago, 40, 50 years ago, it'll be 41 years this July since RE/MAX Garden City opened. And it's interesting that when I came back to St. Catharines and opened RE/MAX Garden City, there were brokers and brokerages in St. Catharines that felt women had no business in real estate and they would not hire a woman in their office. They're all out of business now, but that's how they felt. I mean, we're talking 1984, not 1884. So you guys have gone through suffrages, you've gone through all kinds of things. You've come into the real estate industry and you've really realigned real estate. You really have. I think women not only succeed in real estate, but I think they excel in real estate. I'm gonna get on dangerous ground a little bit because I'm gonna stereotype here. But I think it's been said that if the husband or the man is the head of the house, the woman is very definitely the heart of the home, of the house. And buying a piece of real estate, buying a house is emotional. And I think a woman selling a house sells a home, sells the potential, sells the dream. Can you imagine this? Can you see that? Sometimes the guy's approach is, look, you like it? Buy it. And that may work sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. So women have done a fabulous, fabulous job in real estate and certainly blessed our office here by being such an integral part of the family and of RE/MAX Garden City. And I want to just comment about the panel we had. I love these gals. And the other thing, I'm not stereotyping male, female, but success. Successful people in any endeavor are people who give, not people who take. People who will give, not expecting anything in return, but in life, it says you give, you get back. And the gals here all really know how to give. They're not going to benefit financially by being here in this panel. They're giving up their time. And the thing I found, when I'm hiring a new agent and talking about the differences between RE/MAX Garden City and all the other real estate companies out there, I talk about our culture. And I say, you'll find that the salespeople at Remax Garden City will give of their time and their effort to help you succeed. And, we're looking at today, Belle and Jen, I'm sure when we were sleeping last night, we're making donuts. And we're going to enjoy the donuts in just a few minutes. And I know Christine, I just not only mentoring people, but I can take anybody and say, you got a question, give Christine a call. And she takes them under her wing and does her best to help them succeed. Not part of a team that she's going to benefit from, but ultimately is. And all the ladies in the panel are all that way. And it's that giving that makes a difference. And speaking of giving, I just want to, I'm not going to talk any longer, you've talked long enough, but I just want to say I want to appreciate the time you guys spent this morning sharing, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Michelle. Yeah, give it up to them. And Michelle, this was Michelle's brainchild. She came up with the idea, initiated it, and really pulled it all together. And so, Michelle, thank you very much. For all of you that took the time to come out, I appreciate it. Thank you. We've got some sandwiches. We've got some donuts. Take a look at the look of the donuts before you munch them. But spend some time mingling and networking and chatting and enjoy some lunch. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.